Imagine a disease so absolutely deadly that for thousands of years it just acted like an invisible, relentless assassin, wiping out millions of people worldwide. Now, for a while there, doctors actually had medicines to fight back, and humanity really thought we had the upper hand. But, nature is highly adaptable. Over time, the tiny parasite responsible for this devastating illness, it started developing resistance to pretty much all of our best modern treatments. The medicines were literally just failing. Global health experts were in total panic mode, and scientists were rapidly running out of options to stop what looked like a looming global catastrophe.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is where the solution actually came from. Desperate for a cure, one brilliant researcher didn't just turn to some multi-billion-dollar modern laboratory. No, she actually looked backward. She turned her attention to an ancient medical text written nearly 2,000 years ago. I mean, think about that for a second. While the rest of the scientific community was just furiously searching for brand new synthetic chemicals, she was out there dusting off centuries-old wisdom. And that single, totally unconventional decision, it ended up leading to one of the absolute greatest, most world-altering medical breakthroughs of the entire 20th century. The scientist behind this massive breakthrough was a woman whose name is now forever etched in medical history, Tu Youyou. But you've got to wonder, how did she single-handedly bridge the gap between ancient history and modern pharmacology to literally save millions of lives? Okay, let's dive into this and see if we can uncover the incredible mystery of her life's work.
Section 1. The Malaria Crisis.
So to understand the cure, we first have to understand the enemy. Malaria is caused by tiny, microscopic parasites, and their invasion plan is actually pretty straightforward, but brutal. It kicks off with a single bite from an infected mosquito. But once those parasites slip into the human bloodstream, they execute this highly coordinated, just absolutely devastating attack. They travel straight to your liver to mature and multiply. And from there, they literally burst out and invade the red blood cells. Basically, they hijack the exact cells that are responsible for carrying oxygen throughout your entire body, and they just destroy them from the inside out.
And the physical toll that this microscopic invasion takes on the human body is, well, it's absolutely devastating. We're talking about a patient experiencing recurrent waves of incredibly high fevers, just uncontrollable chills, profuse sweating, and severe, completely debilitating fatigue. And we really have to remember here, this isn't just a bad case of the flu. Without an effective treatment, this aggressive biological attack quickly becomes life-threatening. The parasite simply overwhelms the host.
Which brings us right to the terrifying ticking clock of the 1960s. By this decade, the world was facing a massive medical emergency. Because, remember, the malaria parasite is a living, evolving organism, right? And it was rapidly evolving resistance to the standard medicines that doctors had been relying on for years. The drugs were essentially becoming completely useless. It was a total nightmare scenario. One of humanity's oldest enemies was suddenly becoming immune to our best weapons, and a new cure was desperately needed before the global death toll just skyrocketed.
Section 2. Who was Tu Youyou? Tu Youyou's own personal journey is just incredible. She was born in Ningbo, China, back in 1930. But a major, pivotal moment happened for her when she was just a teenager. She became seriously ill with tuberculosis, which of course is another notoriously deadly disease. Actually surviving that horrific experience fundamentally changed her. It sparked this deep-seated, lifelong drive to study medicine and dedicate her entire career to helping others survive terrible illnesses. She eventually went on to specialize in pharmaceutical research, dedicating herself to finding cures in places where everybody else just saw dead ends. So the crucial point is her uniquely innovative methodology. You see, Tu Youyou didn't just stay neatly inside the traditional confines of Western medicine, but she also didn't just rely solely on ancient folklore. Instead, she did something totally revolutionary. She blended two completely different worlds of knowledge. She took the incredibly rigorous, exacting standards of modern scientific research, and she combined them with the vast, deeply historical study of traditional Chinese medicine. Her basic hypothesis was, hey, thousands of years of human trial and error must have left at least a few clues behind, right?
Section 3. An Ancient Clue.
So putting this plan into action, Tu Youyou and her team began meticulously scouring through hundreds of traditional Chinese medical texts. I mean, they cataloged and studied thousands upon thousands of herbal recipes that had been recorded over centuries. And during this massive, exhaustive search, a prime suspect finally emerged. It was a plant with a pretty humble name, honestly, sweet wormwood, or scientifically, Artemisia annua. She noticed that this specific plant was mentioned over and over again in centuries-old recipes as an effective treatment for intense fevers, which, as we know, is the exact hallmark symptom of malaria. But as you know, science is rarely just a straight, easy line to success. When her team finally brought sweet wormwood into the lab and prepared extracts from it using standard modern techniques, well, they hit a massive roadblock. The early extracts just flat out failed. They didn't work consistently against the malaria parasites in their tests at all. For a moment, it really seemed like just another dead end in a long, frustrating line of failed experiments. It makes you wonder, was the ancient text just wrong?
And this brilliantly illustrates what makes Tu Youyou such a legendary scientist. She didn't just throw her hands up and give up. Instead, she went right back to the original ancient texts, and while rereading the precise instructions, she had this massive eureka moment. She noticed that the ancient practitioners explicitly recommended using the plant in water at a low temperature, rather than boiling it like you would a traditional tea. It's wildly ironic, really. Tu Youyou realized that the modern scientific default of just boiling everything was actually destroying the active cure before it could even be tested. By pivoting and switching to a low-temperature process, she was finally able to protect the plant's delicate chemistry.
Section 4. The artemisinin breakthrough. Because of that crucial low-temperature extraction, her team successfully isolated the incredibly powerful compound hiding inside the sweet wormwood. They named it artemisinin. And let me tell you, when they tested artemisinin, the results were just nothing short of miraculous. It proved to be remarkably effective. It rapidly tracked down and killed the malaria parasites right inside the body. But here is the absolute best part. It completely obliterated the drug-resistant strains that had been totally baffling the global medical community for years. Now, obviously, finding a cool compound in a lab is one thing, but proving it's actually safe for humans, that is a whole different ballgame. And this is where we really see the true measure of Tu Youyou's dedication. Before this brand new treatment could be widely distributed, she took an absolutely extraordinary step. To help prove its safety and speed up the whole process, she actually volunteered to test the experimental medicine on herself. Just put yourself in her shoes for a second. Imagine the sheer bravery and conviction it takes to inject your own bloodstream with a totally novel compound just to ensure that large clinical trials could begin safely. Thankfully, her self-experimentation proved successful and the trials were able to move forward.
Section 5. A Nobel Legacy. Tu Youyou's discovery didn't just win some lab awards, it fundamentally changed global medicine forever. To honor this monumental achievement, in 2015, she was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. And this was a profoundly historic win, by the way. She became the very first Chinese scientist to receive a Nobel Prize in that specific category for scientific research carried out entirely within China. The Nobel Committee clearly recognized that her discovery of artemisinin hadn't just yielded an interesting academic paper, it had actively, practically transformed the treatment of malaria all over the world.
And the real-world impact of that transformation is just staggering. Take a look at this number. Health experts estimate that artemisinin-based therapies have saved millions of lives. Millions, especially in vulnerable regions where malaria is the most common and the most deadly. Over time, the medicine she derived from that single ancient recipe became the world's most effective treatment for malaria. And to this exact day, it remains one of humanity's absolute most important medical weapons against the disease.
Tu Youyou's legacy is really one of absolute perseverance, boundless curiosity, and a fearless willingness to question existing modern methods. By bringing ancient knowledge together with modern science, she achieved one of the absolute greatest medical breakthroughs of our era. And honestly, wrapping up this explainer, it leaves us with a truly fascinating question to ponder. As we face brand new, seemingly insurmountable challenges today, are we maybe too focused on always starting from scratch? Could the answers to our greatest modern challenges be quietly hiding right there in the wisdom of the past, just waiting for the right person to look closely enough? Thanks to Tu Youyou, millions of people are alive today because she did exactly that.